Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to another Chamber Check-in episode from Idaho's only five-star accredited chamber. Today, we get to close out the week talking about the City of Boise's Arts and History Department. And we're featuring Jennifer Stevens. She's the Boise Arts and History Director. And we also have Maureen Lavelle, the History Programs Manager. I'm going to bring them both on screen. Hi, Maureen. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi. Good to see everyone.
Hey, thanks for carving out some time on a Friday afternoon, a beautiful Friday afternoon. I spent a little bit of time looking at the City of Boise's Department of Arts and History website, and I'm going to spend some more time on there because there's a lot of stuff that I want to look at. And today we're here to focus on kind of the City Steps program and some of that, but these chamber check-ins, as I was mentioning before, Maureen and Jennifer, are really great ways of engaging with our members, learning about their products and services, but I love sharing about the people. So let's start with you, Maureen. Tell us a little bit about your background and history of work that led you to the City of Boise and with arts and history.
Sure, thank you. It's kind of a funny story. I grew up in Boise. I graduated from high school here, but after that, I left Idaho and I actually went to school out of state and developed a career in public history, mostly with the National Park Service. And that took me all over the country, to Civil War battlefields, to missile silos in South Dakota, to Death Valley National Park, all these kinds of places. But Boise was always home. My whole family lives here. And when an opportunity opened with the Arts and History Department, I took that chance so I could return home and engage with my local community and my local, the histories here. And it's been a really fun and interesting job because a lot of these histories, Boise is a very familiar place to me, but I didn't grow up learning a lot of our local history. And so it's been a really fun opportunity to try and bring those stories to new audiences and try to spread the word in a way that I didn't engage with when I was growing up here.
Maureen, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Wow, you're the perfect person for this job. I can already tell.
Oh, thank you.
And I can't wait to go have a one-on-one with you and talk about your history a little bit more in depth. Jennifer, help me share a little bit about your background in history of work.
Sure. So I also graduated from high school here in Boise, although a few decades ahead of Maureen, I'm afraid. And I actually have a PhD in history from the University of California, Davis. So my background is also in history. I moved back here and had a business, a history consulting business for many years. I was actually in the Leadership Boise program, thanks Chamber of Commerce, many decades ago, or 2 decades ago, I guess. And when I was raising my kids, when they were quite early or quite young, I actually was served for the City of Boise on both the Historic Preservation Commission as well as the Planning and Zoning Commission. So I'd been working for the City of Boise as a volunteer for a long time. And during the pandemic, I sort of determined that it would be a good time to sell my business and go full-time into public service. And the original department director retired shortly after the pandemic, and the position opened, and it was perfect timing. So as a lifelong Boisean, except for those years of education, it's a total honor to be here, focused on bringing the city's really unique and special history to the residents of our city, both the long-time residents that we have, as well as the newcomers, of which there are many. So we're really, it's a thrilling opportunity to have, the chance to serve the citizens and the residents of our valley and to bring history and art to our community and really make sure everybody knows what a special and unique place it is.
Jennifer, thanks so much for that. And again, maybe both you and Maureen and I should sit down and I want to learn more.
I'm sure we can talk your ear off.
Yeah, I love it. Now I want to help share a little bit about the origin of the department. Now the City of Boise has been around since over
1863.
1863. And so there's a rich in history, right? Oh my gosh. But when did the Department of Arts and History, when was that formed? And kind of help me share the mission and vision, Jennifer.
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to. So the public art program in the city of Boise actually has a very long history. It goes all the way back to 1978, when there was an arts commission, the Boise City Arts Commission. There was only one staff, and everybody else on the commission was a volunteer. And so the art that you actually see behind me today, as well as many of the art installations throughout the city, that whole program started a long time ago. That commission existed until 2008. So it was a long-standing commission, and again, with very, only one staff person. There was also, for just the last 4 years of that time period, so from 2004 to 2008, there was also the Office of the City Historian. And that was a separate position. It was actually funded in part by Boise State University. They were a partner in that. And that was also just one staff person. So in 2008, the mayor at the time and other community members and staff members determined that it would actually make sense to bring those missions together. And at that time, by ordinance, the city and city council, of course, created the Department of Arts and History. And we are actually one of the few cities our size to have a department level mission. Lots of cities around the country have art commissions and have public art programs, but to actually have an entire department that is, on our peers, our public works and the library department and the finance department, all the things that run the city, we're one of 13 departments. So it's a pretty unique space to be in for a little city our size. And it's pretty mighty. We have 18 people, but we really do an immense amount of work with just those 18 people. And our vision is really about fostering a sense of belonging through accessible and place-based arts and history. So things that really speak specifically to Boise. I mean, if you look behind me, you can see that these pieces of art that we have are, about Boise. And then our mission is to cultivate that distinct sense of place through, the programming that we do. We want to make sure that we're reflecting Boise's rich and very diverse past, and sort of making sure that people don't have a misunderstanding of our history, and that we really sort of complicate the stories and tell other, lesser known stories throughout the community. So yeah, that's the story of the department.
Jennifer, thank you so much for that. I learned a lot just in that couple minutes. Tell us about, and while we have you on screen,
Sure.
I want to know a little bit more about what events would the public recognize currently?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the department, like I said, we have 18 people, and the artworks around town, of course, are run by our department, maintained by our department. And each of those art installations goes through a whole process of selecting a local artist. So one of the things that our department does is offer paid opportunities for artists to actually contribute to the sense of place in the public art collection that we have in the city. We have a very important and robust grants program. So every single year we have $150,000 that we grant to local artists, local historians who are engaged in doing low cost and accessible programming throughout the city. We also run the Cultural Ambassador Program, which you might be familiar with. Our current Cultural Ambassador is Story Night. Our one immediately past was the Boise Contemporary Theater. And so we offer those kind of opportunities as well. And then, of course, we do a lot of public programming. We run the James Castle House in the Collister neighborhood. Yep. And we also run the Irma Heyman House in the River Street neighborhood. Both of those sites provide an opportunity for interpretive programming, events that really, again, tell the very specific and unique stories that are Boise's and Boise's alone. Irma Heyman only ever lived in Boise, Idaho. And so the opportunity that her former home offers the community to learn about the River Street neighborhood, the African-American and immigrant and working class people who lived in that neighborhood, that's the kind of thing that this department does. So lots of events, public talks, programming, and then Maureen's going to tell you a little bit about the tours as well.
Jennifer, thank you so much. Rich heritage, and love the Irma Heyman House there, and the James Castle House for that matter. Two unique opportunities to learn and explore the Boise's past. So Maureen, I'm going to bring you on here. Tell us a little bit about the City Steps walking tour, and how can the community get involved?
Sure. Yeah, City Steps is the name that we give to our guided walking tour programs throughout the city for this summer. And they were inspired by like increased demand really from our community, from our public to have more engaging educational experiences to share, in the story of Boise's history and public art, throughout the city. And so these tours, they are on Wednesdays and Saturdays. The Wednesday tours are at 11:45 and 5:30 p.m. And the Saturday tours are at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. And they are 90-minute guided tours that offer, again, either insight into Boise's history or public art scene. They take you around the city. They're about 1.5 miles of walking. And in addition to arts and history staff, we have a couple of great interns who are working here this summer, Nathan and Lillian, who are helping us deliver those stories. And we actually offer 4 different tours. And the different topics include, so one of our tours is called Building Blocks of Boise. And that covers about 160 years of Boise history and really highlights the different cultural identities, the environmental factors, the activist movements that have come to shape Boise history. As Jennifer mentioned, the River Street neighborhood in particular is an example of our working class African American immigrant history, and that's one of the highlights that we include in that tour. Our second option, we call it Tracing Boise's Eco History. Anybody who lives here, treasures the Greenbelt, the Boise River, the foothills, all these wonderful natural spaces. And this tour delves into the community efforts to preserve and provide access to those places. It was not long ago in Boise history that those spaces were polluted, overused, in danger of development, and so on and so forth. And so we really cover the grassroots efforts that it took for those spaces to be preserved and enjoyed as they are today. And then we offer 2 public art tours. So one covers what we call the downtown district, and it explores, the core public art offerings or installations in downtown Boise, murals, sculptures, traffic boxes, which are pretty iconic in our city. And then another area is called the Cultural District Tour. This actually gets started at the Irma Heyman House, and it covers public art installations located along like 8th Street, that particular corridor, the River Street area. And all of these tours, I hope, folks will learn new information, new stories about the public or about their community. And right now, sign up is available for June and July tours at boiseartsandhistory.org. So thank you for putting our website there. And coming up on July 15th, people can register for our August tours. And I should conclude by saying that these right now are free programs available to the public.
That's awesome.
And if I could add, I don't know, is that okay, Paul?
Absolutely.
I just want to add that we've given tours. The department's given public art tours in the past, but the history tours are new, and we've also always focused on Saturday tours. But we're really hoping to get the business community out because we know how many people are new to our city, and we really want the inclusion of the business community, the people who are here at lunchtime on Wednesdays, and who maybe want to have something to do after work on a Wednesday. So that's the reason we added those tours, is to really try to reach out to some new people who maybe aren't familiar with the offerings that our department's had in the past.
Thanks for chiming in, Jennifer. Yeah, it would be awesome for locals to learn and newbies to learn. I always tell there's a catering company out there that's been in business for 30 years. That means that the folks that have been here 30 years know about it, but the folks that are moving here, and it's quite a bit, they just don't know.
Yep.
So no, this is great. I was just going to pull up your website just for a second here, and I want folks to understand. So, the homepage will take you right to here. There's lots of news, events, city steps, guided tours. You can find out more information there. The grant opportunities. Thanks, Jennifer, for helping share what the city is hosting for grants for local artists. Obviously, I love old pics and the archives that you've turned into a digital collection, which are amazing. There's opportunities for volunteers to come and for the community to be involved. There's also a landing page for all the crafternooners out there. And then it's always fun to learn more about what's happening in the future. I think it's important. So go to boiseartsandhistory.org for more information. While I have you for the last few minutes, is there anything else that you'd like to educate the listeners on?
I thank you for asking. I mean, I think a couple of things that I'd like to add. I'm really glad you brought up the archives. Thanks for doing that. I failed to mention it earlier. We are really the community experts on Boise history. And so that's a place to go. If you need a question answered, you can contact Maureen and her team, or you can go to that space and you can find a lot of information right there about Boise City, find some cool old photographs, et cetera. And we're constantly adding to that space. The city archivist is actually on our team. So that's something that is part of our offerings as well. And then Maureen mentioned earlier that we have 2 interns that are helping us with the tours right now. And I just want to point out that one of our missions internally is to do workforce development. A lot of times young people want to maybe study history or anthropology or sociology or art and don't know what they might do with that in the future. And so our goal with bringing interns in this summer to help with the interpretive part of the work is to give them an opportunity and insight into professional opportunities that they can actually pursue with a degree or with training in these fields. And so that's a really important part of what we do. And it's super important to the mayor as well to offer these kinds of workforce opportunities. So those things are key. And again, the real goal here is to help our community become engaged and understand the community and what it stands for. So that placemaking mission that we have cannot be overstated, the importance of it. We want people to know that when they're in Boise, they're in Boise. They're not in the strip mall that you could be anywhere in the USA, but you're standing at the pink tree, and it's the only pink tree in the entire country. You'll never find another one anywhere. Or maybe it's, one of our other incredibly iconic pieces of art. So those 2 things I think are really important to understand. We're here supporting musicians. We're here supporting marketing experts, architects, graphic designers, video gamers. I mean, the creative economy and the people who make up the creative sector is much bigger than people realize. It's not just nonprofits. And so we're really here as a resource for our community, a resource for our residents. And we just hope that we can get the word out and that your members can help us do that and become engaged with the city.
Thank you, Jennifer. Maureen, any closing comments?
Yeah, I think a lot of the work that we do across the department, is to, as Jennifer said, it's to engage the community. And I hope that people, if they come on one of our programs, if they walk by a beautiful piece of public art, whatever their level of engagement is, they feel more connected to this space and want to join us in that work of stewardship, of preserving our history, of preserving, the creative work in our community, and then help shepherd that into the future and really engage with the future of our city in some form or fashion, because all of this work is driven by the public. It's informed by what people are looking for in our work, and we invite them to participate in any way that they can.
That's awesome. Maureen and Jennifer, thanks again for your time today to help share what the City of Boise's Department of Arts and History is doing. Hearts. I think we just found hearts in history. Okay. All right. I like that. I want to brag a little bit about the department. As a nationally recognized city department, the Harvard University has recognized y'all for innovative in American governance and the work that the entire city did for the Sequicentennial.
Yes.
I said that right?
Sesquicentennial.
The Sequicentennial, easy for me to say, how it brought everybody together. Yeah. And I think that was, 2013 or so. That was huge, and it was nationally recognized. So your team is educated, energized, powerful. Thanks for the work that you all do.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Have a great weekend. See you guys soon.